It changes how you feel about your town, your future, even your country, when you look out the window and see that people care. Now, ask yourself this question. Wouldn't politics be better if we truly backed that kind of pride? And this is what the Tory levelling up scheme never really understood. Yes, people want investment, and this government will back them. We're rebuilding our public services, opening new nurseries, breakfast clubs, health centres, investing in community infrastructure. But investment is a means and not an end. It's about power as well as pounds and pence, a way for communities in an insecure world to take control of their own fate. So let's regenerate the town centre in Bexhill. Let's bring a dance and arts centre to the Grimsby Docks. Invest in the youth centre in Rhyl. Run bingo nights in Coleraine. Clean up Coke Bridge. Create better sports facilities right here in Hastings. But most of all, let's do it together. Because I've always believed that people with skin in the game make better decisions about their community and their future. And so that is what we will do. A programme that backs people to change what matters to them. The very definition of a two-way street. A partnership of pride. That is how the state should work. And with my government, it will. Because I tell you, if you want to know where hope lives in Britain, it's in our communities. That is where people come together. It is where you will find our common good. And that is where we will discover once again the courage in each other. Communities backed by the state, fired up by pride, taking responsibility for the renewal of this great nation. So, whatever your politics, if you're proud of your community, join us. Because this is a cause that will give you control over your future, strengthen us on the world stage, create a Britain truly built for all, and show, in defiance of the politics of grievance, that we can walk forward together. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm now going to take a number of questions from the media. Can I start with Chris from the BBC? Chris.
Thank you. Chris. Thank you. Chris Mason, BBC News. Prime Minister, why was it that a man who had already twice resigned from government and, crucially, had a publicly known ongoing friendship with a convicted paedophile was appointed by you as ambassador to Washington? And given all of this, what do you say to those in the country and those in your own party who say, frankly, that you have run out of steam?
Well, Chris, let me just address that head on and perhaps clarify something I said at Prime Minister's Questions yesterday about the relationship between Mandelson and Epstein. Because what I meant was it has been known publicly for some time that they knew each other. And that is precisely why, when we were going through the appointment process for the ambassador role, we asked questions about the nature and extent of that relationship. And what I didn't say yesterday, partly inhibited by the approach of the police, is that that is precisely why those questions were asked. Questions about the nature and extent of the relationship, whether Mandelson had stayed, as was suggested, at Epstein's premises. And the answers given to those questions were intentionally intended to create the impression that Mandelson barely knew Epstein, deliberately to create that impression. I had no reason at that stage to think that was anything other than the truth, and therefore we proceeded. What I learned in September was that it was not the truth when further emails came to light I think Bloomberg. And having asked some further questions, including questions about whether Mandelson received gifts and benefits and hospitality, and the nature of the relationship, I sacked Mandelson from the role. Now, I regret making the decision to have appointed him in the first place. Had I known at the time what I know now, or knew in September, I'd have never done it. And that's why today I've apologised for the fact that I appointed him in the first place and I believed his lies. Thank you very much, Chris. And look, we're moving forward as a country. Today, you've just heard the speech about Pride in Place, one of the most important projects that we're running, that will put money in communities right across the country. And that is the driving purpose of this government, changing lives for the better, focusing on Pride in Place, where people live in their own communities, and making sure we're utterly focused on the cost of living. Thank you, Chris. Beth, can I come to you?
Thank you. Thank you, Prime Minister. Prime Minister, we can all hear your anger, your regret, and most importantly, your apology to victims of Epstein for appointing Mandelson as your US ambassador. But look, whatever he said or didn't say, it has proved a catastrophic error of your judgment to put him back into your government. Some of your MPs believe you must take responsibility for this in order to restore trust in politics amongst the public. And some are saying publicly now that you should stand down because your positions become untenable. Why are they wrong? Thank you.
Well, Beth, as I've said a number of times, I regret the decision to appoint Mandelson as ambassador. He was asked questions about the nature and extent of his relationship with Epstein, and he told lies. I had no reason at the time to know they were lies. Subsequently, I found out them to be lies. And this week, we found out way beyond the lies that we found out in September. We found out what he was up to in the aftermath of the 2008 crash, when most of the government and most of the country was doing its level best to make sure people didn't lose their jobs, their livelihoods, and their savings. And at that time, he chose to disclose sensitive secrets to Epstein, almost simultaneously as receiving them. And that is what I meant when I said earlier about the deceit and the standards that I stand for in public life. Yes, at the time I appointed him, I got answers from him which I believed to be true. He painted a picture of barely knowing Epstein. I didn't know that was lies at the time. I regret I didn't know. I've apologised for the fact that I appointed him in the first place, having believed those lies. Thank you, Beth. Robert.
What do you say to your MPs? Some are publicly saying this morning they think your position is untenable. Please, directly, what do you say to them?
Firstly, let me say I understand their anger and frustration. I am angry and frustrated like them, because nobody wants to see these deceits in public life. They are angry about his association with Epstein, as am I. They're angry about what he did at the tail end of the last Labour government, and frustrated, as am I, that the full information of what was asked and answered when he was appointed can't be in the public domain. That is frustrating. As I say, I had hoped to deploy some of that at PMQs yesterday, because I wanted people to know what was said and what I received, but frustrating that can't be done. So I understand their frustration, but we must remain focused on what we were elected into government to do, which is to change this country for the better for millions of people, and that's what we will do. And today, in Pride in Place, what we've done on the economy are examples, but only examples of what we're doing. Thank you, Beth. Robert, well, hang on, Robert, ITV.
Prime Minister, time and again during the general election campaign, you promised to end chaos